Welcome to another Awards Editorial Roundtable. We're talking about the Awards 10 Best Interiors competition. And with us today, Christy Swinesberg, Steve Finley. Today we're talking about two vehicles in particular that we just had here recently, the Acura TLX sedan and also the Ford F-150 King Ranch. They sound like disparate vehicles, but all three of us have had experience in them, so we want to discuss them. So let's talk first about the Acura TLX. And Steve, I get the sense that you really like the TLX.
I did. Well, it's both vehicles have luxury in common, I think, at least the King Ranch version of the F-150. And the TLX mission was to come to the market, Acura's mission was to come to the market with this sporty luxury mid-size sedan. They had been kind of not a player in that segment, but I thought they did a really good job, and the idea was mainly driving dynamics, but that carried on into the interior. It's luxurious yet sporty, very cockpit oriented, great use of materials, seats 5, so even though it's not this radically different interior, I think it works really well with that car.
Okay. And now where does TLX fit in the lineup? We had the TL, which was kind of their mid-size sedan,
right,
and we also have the ILX, which is smaller. Is this kind of a cross in between the two, or?
Yeah, it's in between. It's their mid-size entrant. So before they had the TSX and the TL, and one of the TL was bigger than a 3 Series, for instance. The TSX was smaller, so
right, now
this is sort of matching the Germans more closely than they were before.
And your thoughts about the TLX?
Well, I haven't been in the car we have. I'm going to get in it tonight, but in prior time in it, you know, they do materials very well. They always make good selections. Their fit and finish is always impeccable. I think where they fall down, if anywhere, is the aesthetics and design harmony, which is something that we judge on, and that's where we award our most points. You know, we're looking at pictures here. It's a very attractive combination with the sort of pale beige and the black.
I like the double stitching, the
right,
2 seams. It's and it flows into the door trim and also onto the instrument panel. It's very nice to have kind of that double stitching there.
Right. I find their design language has to be a bit angular. And as you brought up, it hasn't evolved too much.
Yeah.
It's kind of making baby steps, I'd say.
Yeah, I kind of see the center stack of a lot of the Acuras over the past several years looking very similar, and that is 2 display screens, the one that's kind of in the center and then one that's propped up even higher, and to me it's a little distracting, and I understand Steve's point that they really did try to move the bar on the TLX, and I think they did overall, but I guess I was hoping for a little more kind of reinvention of the interior space, especially on the instrument panel for the TLX. I guess I'd like to see some new HMI. For instance, on the center stack, the control knob is placed there, so you have to reach for it. And I kind of like the orientation down in the center console where it's a little more ergonomic to reach down and to dial a knob than it is to reach forward,
absolutely,
and grab, and then having to press enter, which you do in the case of the TLX.
Well, that's the old iDrive came up with that, and people hated it at first. There was such criticism about that, and now there's the discussion of whether that's the best way to go versus the touch screen. I tend to agree with you on that, but I'm not sure how much you guys expected Acura to leap forward with this.
Yeah.
Were you looking for a radical change, or I thought what they were doing was pretty on target, and they just notched it up a bit.
Right. I think with this vehicle, they concern themselves more with the driving dynamics than the interior space. Again, it's not a carbon copy of what they had before, but it's pretty close. So, and I agree about the two screens. It is distracting. I'm never sure which one I'm supposed to be looking at. That knob controller on the center stack, that's a holdover from the old days. It looks a little different with the trim, with the metal trim, but
the metallic trim is very nice.
Yeah,
I do like that quite a bit.
Yeah. And you get an actual shifter in this vehicle, which, you know, in the RLX you get the buttons, which a lot of people don't like, so this one has a genuine shifter.
Right. And the price on this is $34,990. $175,920, which isn't a bad price. I mean,
That is real value.
It's a lot of
It is
content,
very.
and all the electronic gizmos, the accident prevention, the collision avoidance, things like that.
Yeah, you get upscale connectivity and a really great sound system.
Yeah, but we've seen this before. Honda/Acura, they don't take
Risk.
leaps in terms of design and styling, so we shouldn't expect massive changes. We look at the Nissan Murano, which has just come in, and I mean that interior and exterior both really shows some clear steps to really kind of reinvent themselves in that segment. So Honda and Acura are slower to do that, I think, in many cases.
Well, I'm not sure Nissan is doing it everywhere except the Murano. That seems to be their car that they go nuts with.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right, so let's move on to the Ford F-150 King Ranch. This was the Super Crew that we had, 4x4. It had the 3.5-liter EcoBoost and the 6-speed automatic. The reason I'm telling you that is because the overall package, the sticker price was $60,675. I mean, this isn't the first time that we've seen a pickup truck priced over $60,000, but consistently automakers say we can't make these things fast enough. We can't make the high-end trim levels fast enough. And with the King Ranch, of course, they're paying tribute to the rancher lifestyle, and they do a great job with the wood. This beautiful genuine wood trim that's on the doors. It just it looks like Brazilian rosewood or something. It's just really, really nicely appointed. And then they trim it with the chrome accents on the door. I thought that was really nice.
And I will say it's truly amazing if you think of the way pickups were. I mean, they were strictly utilitarian vehicles, and there was no thought into making them anything other than that. And now we have this segment, this subsegment of luxury pickup trucks. I think it would bowl any rancher over. And the King Ranch is an 800,000 acre ranch in southern Texas, and Ford has been using that brand since I think 2001, and very effectively. This is, to me, is a really nice alloy of a truck, which has a utilitarian essence to it, and an upscale vehicle, and it's especially reflected in the interior. I mean, really exterior-wise, it looks like an F-150, right? It's when you get inside that thing that you realize how special it is.
Yeah. So, Christy, tell us more about the plastics. I know that you're got a sharp eye for cheap plastics. You can find.
Go back to that pillar trim.
Okay.
That right there is what
We're looking
I'm
at the
talking
B
about.
pillar trim,
There's
and you'll
no
see this photo in a
texture.
second. I also watch for cheap-looking plastics. I don't like to see cheap plastics, especially in a vehicle priced like this. But as I look here, I mean, you're going to find plastic in a BMW 3 Series. You're going to find plastic everywhere, and some plastics are convincing, and some are not. I just look at this as kind of in the center console area around the shifter. That doesn't look offensive to me. That doesn't look like it's really cheaped out. It doesn't have a lot of orange peel in it. It doesn't have a lot of gloss.
Yeah. Well, you're not opposed to the use of plastics.
No, I just think there's a right way and a wrong way to do it when you're talking about a vehicle that's $60,000. It just, I would have liked to have seen something a bit higher.
Okay.
Higher grade.
And in the back seat, though, big, spacious second row with seating for 3. I like the seats being able to fold up.
Me too.
I just think that's really cool in pickup trucks today. It's just a standard fixture. You're going to fold that second row up on both sides, and you've got all sorts of. You could put a couple of bikes there.
You could put a double bed there after that seat goes up. Again, I thought it was a well-executed vehicle overall. And I concede some of your points, especially about certain applications, but the overall impression of that vehicle is, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah. We're going to move on. Thanks for joining us.